المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
All right, do me a favor and start from the first Qamariya word in the surah. The first Qamariya word of the surah.
Ha.
Okay. Ha is a letter, and we ask you for a word. What is the first Qamariya word?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, you gave us 2 words. We just want 1. So what is it again? What is the first word of the 2 words you just said?
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so this is Qamariya word. All right, we just want 1 word. And remember the Arabic words, the Qamariya or Shamsiyya, or neither Qamariya nor Shamsiyya. There's nothing beyond that. The next word is what?
Lillahi.
And following that word? What's after Lillahi?
Rabbil.
Okay, but you have to say what the next word is. You said the next word and a half. We just need the next word.
Rabb.
Huh?
Ra.
Okay, so the word, again, because the Ra is a cut-off letter, so you have to know. If the letter cut off, you cannot think automatically that that's the end of the word, right? What you know is the fact that the meaning of this word is just 1 word. It has 2 letters, the Ra and the Ba. The Ba has a shadda, it's a continuing letter, but it's cutting off. Anytime you see a continuing letter, but it's cutting off, you know that is the end of the word. The next word, is that a Qamariya or Shamsiyya word? What is the next word, by the way? Safta Rabbi.
Al-Alamin.
Very good. And I like the fact that you're able to, mashallah, you're able to say the Ain now really well. And it's a Qamariya word, correct?
Yes.
How do you know it's a Qamariya word?
Because the alif wasl and the lam has a sukun on top.
Correct. So that would be the appropriate answer for that. The next 2 words, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Are these Qamariya or Shamsiyya words?
Shamsiyya.
Very good. And how do you identify that they're Shamsiyya words?
The alif wasl and the lam has no sukun on top of it.
Okay. That's just cause enough. Obviously, you know, the fact that the shadda is there. There's always a shadda when it comes to Shamsiyya. Okay. Maliki Yawmiddin. Do you have a Qamari or Shamsiyya word along the way there?
Yes.
And how many words do you actually have in this ayah? Maliki Yawmiddin.
3.
Okay. So you said you have something. Do you have a Shamsiyya or Qamariya in this ayah?
Shamsiyya.
Very good. I believe that to be correct. And these words, they end with continuing or cut off letters. The letters that are ending these words, in other words, by nature, are they continuing or are they cut off letters?
Cut off. No, continuing.
Continuing. What are the cut off letters? Do you know what the cut off letters are? Because you're saying that all these letters are not cut off. Are you sure? Because you have a kaf, a meem, and a noon. Is that correct? That's the end of your... Is that right or no? What is the first word ending with, in other words? In Maliki Yawmiddin, what's the first word ending with?
Kaf.
Kaf. Okay, is a kaf among the cut-off letters? Among letters that cut off by nature, is the kaf among them? Okay, this is the reason why you have to know the cut-off letters. There's only 7 of them. You have to know who they are. Otherwise, you get confused like that, and you won't say the word. You won't end it easily because you're confused. Right? Read this ayah.
مالك يوم الدين.
Okay. The connection between the second and the third word, being the Shamsiyya word, that's clear enough. And it was also clear. But again, alif, dal, zal, ra, zal, waw, hamza, these letters, they cut off. And there's a waw here, there's an alif here. There's also a dal here. So you can see in ad-din how you have an alif, lam, dal. In yawmi, you also have ya and waw. And waw is cutting off. So learn the cut-off letters. But continue to read the next ayah.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين.
Okay, the ba doesn't have a little shadda or anything. Na'budu. So this is important. Don't nasal the ba dhamma. Ba dhamma is bu. Alright, so don't put a shadda. Right? And the ayn is good. So the next ayah is what?
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم.
Do you have a Shamsiyya or Qamariya in this ayah?
قمرية.
Okay. So where's your Qamariya and where's your Shamsiyya?
The Shamsiyya is the dog.
Hmm.
The Shamsiyya is the.
Say the Shamsiyya word. Say the whole word of the Shamsiyya. What is the Shamsiyya word on its own?
اهدنا الصراط.
Okay, you're giving me already too much. When you say Ihdina as-Sirah, you gave me too much. We're asking for one word. So which one is it? We want the Shamsiyya word that you recognize.
Nas.
So you're not familiar with the word. What's the first word in this ayah? All right. The first word in this ayah, how many words does this ayah have? You have to work on knowing each word that you're reading. You have to know where it starts, where it stops. Okay? You have to work on that. You understand?
Yes, teacher.
Very good. So it's ihdina is the first word. You can say that clearly. But ihdi can mean something on its own. So this is how rich the Arabic is. Na practically comes as a liaison stating for the plural instead of the singular. The second word is as-sirata. So this word is a Shamsiyya word, and that's how you would read it. As-sirata. And the next word is what? Al-Mustaqim. So you're probably just having some hesitation with the Shamsiyyas, but the Qamariyas I think is fine. Now the last ayah, recite that. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Okay, so you have to articulate the ghayn fatha. So we're having issues. You have to work on the ghayn fatha. And then do you have a nunu sakin and a mimu sakin in this ayah or any other tajweed rule related? Do you have any Shamsiyya Qamariya in this last part too?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me all that you can see now. What do you have? Pertaining to... Yes, go ahead.
Al-Maghdubi.
Al-Maghdubi, okay. Is this... What do you want to say about this word?
It's Qamariya.
Very good. Okay, what else?
ضالين.
Okay, so this is again a Shamsiyya issue, okay? Say the word correctly and try to apply the Shamsiyya sound. The Shamsiyya sound, you have to imagine a small alif on top of that. Alif wasl, you have to imagine a small alif on top of it with a little fatha. And you have to remember someone diving on, and in this case, that sound is a, and then it will immediately dive on the dad shadda fatha. So, in all Shamsiyya, and that's why Shamsiyya is harder than Qamariyya. So you would say Ad-Dallin.
الضالين.
Okay, so this we already identified as Shamsiyya. Good. Do you have any Nunu Sakin, the partner of Tanween? Do you have any Nunu Sakin or Mimu Sakin in this ayah, by the way?
Yes.
What do you have?
You have أنعمت.
An'amta. Okay, say it again.
أنعمت.
Okay, what is the rule of this Nunu Sakin? What is this Nunu Sakin going to fall under? Because we have to know what type of the correct sound to put on this Nunu Sakin. If we don't give it the right sound, then it's not going to be recited appropriately. So, what is the rule of this Nunu Sakin?
إظهار.
Izhar, okay. And what does that tell you to do?
Say it clear.
Clearly, that means no nasal. Don't forget. You cannot put nasal, you cannot put combination of letters, you cannot put light or heavy nasal. You cannot do any of that. You cannot put a little Meem either. You have to say everything clear. And after that Nunu Sakin, there's also another Meemu Sakin. In Meemu Sakin, everything is clear in Meemu Sakin. The Meemu Sakin is clear, and the letter that comes after that Meemu Sakin is also very clear. You understand? Meemu Sakin, everything is clear with the exception of two letters, and that is a ba. And what's the other letter? Do you know the other letter to Meemu Sakin that would not be clear besides the ba? Yes, no? Teacher? No. Okay. The other letter is Meem itself. If a Meem comes after a Meem, a Sakin, then it's not going to be clear. If a ba comes after a Meem Sakin, then you're not going to have a clear sound. So, but in this case, you have to be clear on everything. The Nun Sakin is Idhar, and the Meem Sakin is Idhar. An'amta.
أنعمت.
Good. Okay. Now, we already talked about the ghain, but then we have another case of Meem Sakin later on, and those are also going to be clear. Alayhim gha, right? Because the ghain belongs to the idhar category in both instances. The Nun Sakin and the Meem Sakin, the ghain is clear, right? But in the second instance, the waw came after the Meem Sakin, and that's why it's clear. So no nasalization there either. And the last word, we already went over it to be Ad-Dallin, which is a Shamsiyya word. Al-Maghdubi is a Qamariya word or Shamsiyya word?
قمرية.
Correct, okay. And we also see that the waw is there. And the waw does not end the word. The word ends with a ba, for sure. Okay. So I think recite that, the last ayah again. Pay attention to the rules,
صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Okay. Al-Maghdubi with the waw stretching.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس الناس
من الجنة والناس.
من الجنة والناس.
Very good, mashallah. All right, tell me, where is your first Shamsiyya and your first Qamariya in this surah?
The first Shamsiyya is An-Nas.
Okay, what is the second word in this surah?
A'udhu.
Okay, this is not dhu. It's not a dha. It's a dhal, right? So make sure you go through your tongue drills, all right? The tongue letters, the dal, the dhal, because you don't want to confuse dhal with dha. It really throws off a lot. Ikhfa, they both are ikhfa letters of Noon Sakin and Meem Sakin. But if you and one of them is heavy nasal and the other one is light nasal. Dhal is light nasal versus the dha. So that's why you have to be very careful. I mean, it throws off a lot. All right, so then do you have a Shamsi or Qamariya word? Where's your first Shamsi or Qamariya word?
The first Shamsiyya is An-Nas.
An-Nas. Okay, that's very good. And where's your first Qamariya word?
First Qamariya.
Yes, your first Qamariya word is in the surah is where?
Al-Was.
You have to say the whole word. Don't cut it off too early.
Al-Was.
The whole word you have to say. You're cutting off. You see the scene is connected to what letter after the scene?
Al-Waswa.
Okay, but the word does not end with that because you see a standalone letter at the end. After the alif, what letter comes after the alif?
Sin.
Right. So sin that connects would not just be standing on its own like that. Okay? Sin would not be standing alone like that. And it has a kasra. Right? So read the entire word is the instructions at this point.
Al-Waswasi.
Okay, very good. And this is your first Qamariya word, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what is the next word after that word? And tell me if it's Qamariya or is it Shamsiyya?
Al-Khannas.
That's very good. So is that a Qamariya or Shamsiyya word?
Qamariya.
Do you have a Noon Sakin in this ayah?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And what is the rule of this Noon Sakin?
Ikhfa.
Why is it Ikhfa?
Because it's a sheen.
Okay, and Sheen belongs to the category of Ikhfa, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And next ayah. الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس. Repeat that.
الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس.
Okay, the scene in yuwaswisu, this one sounds like the Sad Dhamma for you. Alright? Or they sound similar. So sin is a light, Sad is heavy. Right? So that's why you cannot confuse them. And they're both also, again, ikhfa letters. One is heavy ikhfa and the other one is light ikhfa. So say the word yuwaswisu.
Yuwaswisu.
Good. It's clear. It's nice. So work also on the teeth letters. Drill. Okay. And alladhi would be a Shamsiyya word or Qamariya word?
Qamariya.
See, you're not following the protocol. Why is it Qamariya? Why is it Qamariya? Alladhi, why is it Qamariya? Okay. You have a shadda or do you have a sukun?
Shadda.
So shadda is not for Qamariya, it's for Shamsiyya. Remember that?
Yes.
Alright, how many words do you have in this ayah? How many words in الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس?
4.
Okay, tell me what they are.
الذي
Okay, that's one. Okay, and the next word?
يوسوس
That's the second word. And what's the next word? See, this is where your understanding of maqtu' and mawsul comes into play. Cut off and continuing letters. Now you have two continuing letters back to back. But the first one is cutting off. So this is where you have to understand. This is what's important. Say, mashallah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, because we needed, fi is very important for you to remember that it comes a lot in the Quran and it's a word of its own. It means in. In is the meaning that it is used for here, okay? So it's actually 5 words, but I think you figured at least, the other two, suduri and an-nas. All right, now go ahead and read the last ayah.
من الجنة والناس.
Good. All right. So do you have Noon As-Sakin, Qamariya or Shamsi in this ayah?
You have 1 Qamariya, 1 Shamsiyya, and no Noon Sakin.
MashaAllah, no Noon As-Sakin. That is correct. Okay, barakallahu feek.
الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد.
Okay, again the dhal and the dha. You said awdhu again. Don't put any nasalization in dhal dhamma. A'udhu. All right. So let's start with Qamariya Shamsiya. Where's our first Qamariya or Shamsiya in this surah?
الفلق.
Al-Falaq. That is correct. Okay. And how many words do you have in that ayah? How many words do you have in قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ?
4.
Correct. Okay, well, that's good enough. Now, in the next ayah, do you have any tajweed rules there? And if so, what are they?
The Noon Sakin.
The Noon As-Sakin. What is the rule of the Noon As-Sakin?
إخفاء.
And what is the sound of this particular ikhfa, light or heavy?
Light.
Yes. So, all right. So don't give it heavy nasalization anymore. That's why you're having this exercise, which is good. All right. And then everything else is clear. There's no reason for you to put any nasalization there. Now the next one is the same rule, right? And وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. Do you have a nunu sakin or tanween there? Let's start with tanween. Do you have a tanween in this ayah?
Yes.
And what is the rule of this tanween?
Izhar.
Okay, so make sure it's clear, It cannot be muffled or anything. Next, again, وَمِن شَرِّ. The same applies to the one that is up in غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. So that غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ, you already said it's supposed to be clear, correct?
Yes.
In the next ayah, النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. Do you have a Qamariya or Shamsi in this ayah?
Both. One
Yeah.
Qamariya, one.
Okay, very good. And how many words are in this ayah?
5.
Okay, go ahead and tell me what word you see from the first to the fifth. What you're saying?
Where?
Where? That's one.
Min sharri.
Okay, so remember again, all right? If letters that are supposed to continue, they're cutting off, that's definitely the end of the word. So you're having problems recognizing that. That's what you have here clearly. The noon naturally continues by nature. And it would be connected to the sheen if it was the same word, but it's not the same word, all right? So that's where you maybe, again, you did well with determining, well, that the fee was a word of its own this time, but you have a problem with recognizing that the noon, all right? So this is an issue. All right, in the last ayah, do you have, just remember, wami sharri from now on. Don't give it heavy nasalization, okay? Sheen is not that, Sad is. In the ikhfa. Now, in the last ayah, hasidin idha hasad, is there a tanween rule there? And if so, what is it?
Yes, it's izhar.
Idhar, okay? So remember, you can't nasal there anymore, okay?
Rahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
All right. So don't say Allahu. Don't say Allahu, no, at. Right? You have to, on top of that alif wasl in the name Allah, you have to imagine there's a little alif fatha to say at. But don't say all anymore. And remember, that's a Shamsiyya word. And we have the formula for the Shamsiyya sound. So be careful. Do not nasal it over there. Okay? Now, in the second ayah, do you have a Shamsiyya or a Qamariyya in the second ayah? Allahu Samad.
Shamsiyya.
You have Shamsiyya. How many Shamsiyyas do you have?
2.
Okay, what is the second one? What is the second the second word? Can you say what the second word is, the second Shamsiyya word? You said you have 2. What is the second Shamsiyya word?
As-Samad.
Say it again.
As-Samad.
At, right? Don't say all, say As-Samad. As-Samad.
As-Samad.
Good. And what is the first one?
Allahu.
At. Allahu.
Allahu.
Again.
Allah.
Very good. And go on to the next ayah and tell me how many words are in this ayah. All right. How many words are in this ayah? Lam yalid wa lam yulad. How many words?
5.
Correct. Okay, that is correct. All right. Do you have Nunu Sakin or Mimu Sakin? And if you have a Mimu Sakin, what is the rule of this Mimu Sakin?
There's Meem second.
Okay. And what is the rule of these Mimu Sakins?
Izhar.
Idhar. So you have to make sure. What is the meaning of Idhar? What is the sound of Idhar?
Clear.
Clear. Okay. So remember, no nasaling here anymore. Okay. So now in the next ayah, do you have Mimu Sakin also there? Nunu Sakin or Tanween? Which ones?
Noon second and Tanween.
You have Nunu Sakin, Tanween. Do you have any Mimu Sakin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what are the words that involve the Mimu Sakin?
Lam.
Okay, that's one word. And of course I said words.
Oh.
So at least give 2 words that demonstrate the recitation of the Mimu Sakin. The appropriate way to say it. Lam is the first word. What is the second word? All right. So go ahead and say what the words are in this ayah.
Wa.
Wa is a word. And the second word.
Lam.
Okay. And the third word.
Yakun.
Very good. Okay. So now the second and the third word is what you have to say together. Lam yakun. Again.
Lam yakun.
Very good. All right. Remember, this is clear. Now there's a Noon Sakin after that. What is the rule of this Noon Sakin?
Izhar.
Okay. Idgham without nasalization is the correct answer, okay? It's connected. There's no nasalization. It's idgham. And then you have kufu 1, ahad, which is idhar. So maybe you went too far. All right. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Subhana